Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good day to everyone. I'm Salim Khan Tanoli, CEO of Act Exhibitions Private Limited. We are the leading trade exhibition organizing company in Pakistan. Specialized in B2B exhibitions, embracing a portfolio of over 25 sectors, and being the UFI approved event organizing company, we are absolutely in accordance with international standards. So currently, industrial professionals are looking to get updates and connect with experts in their respective fields. We, being the organizer of IGATEX, the pioneer in the largest textile and garment machinery exhibition in Pakistan, have taken the initiative to organize a series of informative webinar to facilitate and cater the need of textile industry, along with our strategic partners, media partners, association partners. So today's topic is post-COVID-19 implication, opportunities, and way forward for the textile industry. So I would like to thank all the panelists, our strategic partners, supporting bodies, and attendees. Last but not least, my team. And I would like to thank all of them for joining and sparing their precious time to attend this webinar. So I wish you all the very best. And now I would request Mr. Nadeem Mazhar to take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Salim. Thank you. All the panelists, attendees, welcome to this very informative session that hopefully will be very useful for our industry and anybody who's interested in the future of the textile industry and the trade post-COVID-19 scenario. We have among our distinguished panel, Mr. Parvez Lala. He's the chairman of APTPMA, All Pakistan Textile Processing Mills Association. And he will enlighten us about the scenario that our textile industry has faced over the last few months, which have been quite drastic and quite difficult for. Then we get an international perspective from Mrs. Muqaddar Ozden, who's representing the textile apparel sector and she will tell us about how Turkey, as a key producer of apparel and supplier to European market as well as rest of the world, how they are coping with this and what is the future that they foresee and what are the changes they have seen in their market and the way of doing business. Then of course we have Mr. Alex Zucchi, who's representing the Italian Textile Machinery Manufacturers Association, ACIMET. He's the president of this important European association, and he will enlighten us about how Italy, as one of the first countries after China to face the great difficulties and how they have dealt with them, how the industry has coped with it, and how, most importantly, whether and how the industry is going to start again and what the future is going to be. Investments in the world in the textile sector are very important for the future, and how those investments are affected by COVID-19, whether it is a stoppage or there's a slowdown and whatever, we'll get Mr. Alex Zucchi's perspective on that. And lastly, we will be joined very soon with Mr. Richard Salvatore, who's the Secretary General of TEMSAD, the Turkish Textile Machinery Manufacturers Association. And he will give us the perspective of the Turkish textile machinery industry and how they have been able to cope with it. And then collectively, then we'll try to seek out some answers that we are all seeking in the world at the moment in this uncertain time. So I would like to start from Pakistan with Mr. Parvez Lala. Parvez Saab, I would like to ask you, how have the last few months been for the textile industry of Pakistan, and what are some of the key issues that have been faced, and what is what are some of the implications of that? I would like you to give us a little brief about that.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to all to this session. As you asked me about regarding the 3 months of COVID-19, what happened to the textile industry of Pakistan, what I feel and what we have observed as an industry in our segment, in all these segments of textiles in Pakistan, when COVID-19 pandemic started, it was a very insecure and very panic situation in the start. But as time's gone on, after 20 days, 25 days, people realized that now we have to live with this same COVID-19 situation. Definitely, everyone was very much panicked. Everyone was worried that what's going to happen tomorrow morning. People closed down their factories. A lot of export orders were cancelled. Markets were closed. Domestic market was completely shut down. Everywhere was locked down. So for first 20, 25 days, nobody knows what's going to happen. But what I observed, after 25 days, the market started coming to the normal situation. Definitely, the countries who were importing goods from Pakistan, they had a problem of their purchasing power, their unemployment, their multiple local issues, their lockdowns, their stoppages, their manufacturing sectors. So slowly now, the industry of Pakistan is again regaining the orders, again reviving slowly, gradually. What I feel that in next 3 to 6 months, things will come in a normal position for the export market. But one main thing what I want to share with you people, that Pakistan, we always tried our best for last so many years as a textile industry of Pakistan, that Pakistan should enter into a value-added fashion garment industry. But all the time, Pakistan is always into the commodity products, into the basic textile products, like towel industry, line, home textiles, bath linen, but into basics, into basic garments, into basic home knitwear garments. Very few segments, like denim industry, is very much well developed in Pakistan. So what is observed nowadays in these 3 months, all over the world, whole the textile industry related to fashion and value added is hit more than the basic one. Because when there is a population in the world, you can't say that the consumptions will become zero. People need daily, they need the toothbrush, they need the toothpaste, they need the fabric, they need the bath linen, they need the towel. But the prices will go down, and the commodity products, what I feel, will the demand of the low price products will increase. And Pakistan can be a beneficiary. And I think that it can be an opportunity for Pakistan in terms of basic products, what I feel. Secondly, the most important thing, that Pakistan exports approximately $25 billion plus the total export of Pakistan. Out of $25 billion plus exports, 60% of the total exports depends on textile. That is $15 billion. But one more good thing for Pakistan in this situation is Pakistan is not exporting only value-added textiles in 15 billion. We have multiple sectors. We have knitwear industry, we have home textiles, we have grey, we have yarn, we have finished fabrics, we have denim. So only few segments and few areas are affected in terms of future planning and future productions. But what I feel that the gap which came in terms of the slowdown of the orders or the shipments or the cancellation will again revive in next 3 to 6 months. What I feel.
Do you see the orders slowly coming back, and are the orders in the same manner that they were, or do you see some new opportunities? Is Pakistan making use of all these new demand of medical products, for example, and the gowns? And
Many
how
of
are
the,
they
many of,
dealing with that?
before few days back, Pakistan government allowing to export the medical equipments like masks, like the complete, you say the work, the medical wear, that kind of things. But now government has allowed, and lot of companies are working on these diversified medical textiles. They are working on it. And I hope that we will be one of the cheapest countries in terms of productions, in terms of stitching, in terms of exports. I hope so, that we can get that opportunity.
Uh, my one of my questions is concerns is it something that we can base on a long-term strategy, or do you think after the COVID, this new investment in these new areas, is it going to continue? I will also would like to the answer from other panelists also in that a little later. But Parisa, can you share that after 1 year or 2 year, would there be any need of these medical textiles and the masks as they are as of today? Can you foresee some of that so that we can make some
Definitely,
long-term
because
planning with that?
yeah, but what I see as an industry, that it will be a long term, because we have a lot of problems, medical problems with the people, but we had never seen that kind of problem, that if you have some kind of flu or you have this corona and you get your lungs shrunk. So I think that this mask and these kind of dresses and medical textiles, it will be a part of our daily life, what I
Oh,
feel.
that's what I needed to know. What are some of the government incentives or programs you think that can or could have helped and are expected to help our industry to survive in these very difficult times?
Government at this time, in last 3 months, government has supported a lot in terms of financial side. They have supported a lot. We had a lot of payment issues from the government side in terms of refunds, rebates, the incentives on exports. They have released a lot of payments for us. So the cash flow has become better. Secondly, we had a lot of problems regarding the unemployment or the retaining of the existing human resource, because the
Mhm.
companies had 500 to 5,000 people, depending on the size of the company. So government has introduced very good financial policies on a very reduced interest market rates with the good long-term investments. So government is doing their best to facilitate the industry. They realize and they know the problems and the issues of the export and the local industry both. And then they realize one more thing. We are a country with a population of 220 million plus people. So we can't bear that kind of unemployment or that kind of lockdown. That's the reality of life. Because you know what is the literacy rate of in Pakistan, you know what is the basic wage in Pakistan, you know what is the poverty level in Pakistan. So government, whatever they had, they are trying their best to facilitate the uh, business community and the economy. They are trying the best, what I feel.
Okay, the question is, you spoke about the big companies and the ones with the better economies of scale also. My concern is about the smaller players. Are there any specific things being done, or how are they going to survive, the smaller players who depend more on the not just on their they do not have the stockage capacity and they don't have pending orders, who are working day to day basis practically for all this time and with a poorer cash flow. So how are these companies going to survive? Is there anything which is being done or can be done with that for them?
At the moment, to be very true and clear, the SME sector is more hurted, no doubt.
It's more hurt.
You
Yeah,
have to
this is
realize
what.
one more thing. Pakistan business community is slightly different from other countries' business community, especially the industrialists and the entrepreneur. Most of the companies or most of the people in Pakistan, they have the family-owned businesses. And most of the companies, they do their business with their own equity and with their own capital. That's a good reason in terms of religious point of view, but in terms of international point, it's a problem for the small industries. When this kind of situation and this kind of problems comes, those industries face more problems, because a person who is already into banking sector or getting the financial support from the banks, the banking side. So when these kind of policies come, they get more benefit with a very low markup rates. Like government has introduced 3% markup rate, 4% markup rate per year. So it's a very cheap markup, 0.5 or 0.7. But most of the SME sector in Pakistan, especially in the textile sector, they are not into banking sector. So they are getting serious problems. But I hope that inshallah, Allah will help everyone. And inshallah, with the due time, in next 3 to 6 months, when the whole world will be into a normal situation, so they will again revive and they will come into business.
Yeah.
But my opinion is.
Yeah, thank you very much, Parvez. We will come back to you for when we talk about the solutions. So I will move to the Turkish. We found out something about how the Pakistani textile industry and has dealt with this very, very unusual and unexpected and unprecedented situation. I would like you to tell us, Mrs. Muqaddar, how the Turkish retail business, apparel sector, export business, how have you dealt with this situation, and what is the prognosis and what is the future that you foresee, as well as some of the problems, the main problems and issues that the Turkish textile and apparel industry has faced?
Okay. First of all, I want to say hello, everybody, all participants and our speakers. Also, thank you to invite us as a Apparel and Readywear Federation in this webinar. Thank you very much. Actually, textile and readywear manufacturers are a big family in the world. We are together. So I think COVID-19 show us we are one in the world. If there is a problem in part of world, the other parts have to affect, influence these problems, or good things or bad things. So always we need to keep this point in our minds. This is important. Actually, COVID-19 outbreak bring us unusual days. It was a big surprise for everybody. And we had some new experiments. So we see importance of the community health, an example. So at the beginning of the March, when we heard the COVID-19 outbreak, none of us guessed this epidemic should affect so many countries and people. Actually, we thought, majority had thought also, that epidemic would affect only China, and it would stay in China. But real situation was totally different. It spread rapidly in Europe, and then Turkey, same in early March. So Turkey had urgently preventions urgently, and government stopped all social activities, etc. This was a very right decision, and it was very useful to control the disease spread. Still, we are, how can I say, very careful about it. You know, people bored about to stay home, etc. People want to go out. So government and also we try to keep them in houses, etc. So the problem was like that in Turkey. when the importance of the pandemic understood, major European buyers stopped all shipments, deliveries, and they canceled the pending orders. Even some of them say that if the garments are on your site in Turkey, it doesn't matter it's produced or not, we will not buy it. They said this was a big shock for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
After stopping production, normally the weaving, knitting, dyeing companies stopped. So this situation affects all manufacturers. For example, if you have orders, if you had orders that time, you stopped because no fabric, no yarn, no dyeing. This was big.
Complete stoppage.
Yes, everybody had to stop.
Everybody stopped.
That was a big problem. There is a small chance that time, that period, we delivered most of season garments, for example, summer styles, summer orders.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were at the beginning of the collection period. This was a small chance for everybody because anyway, we find some small solutions, etc. And we continued to prepare our collections. For example, we had in our company many Italian brands. They never stopped. They worked in their houses, follow all details, and we sent proto samples, etc. to their home. They controlled there and made their comments, and we can continue a bit. But chain stores, it's big problem because they we can say they manage our textile and ready-wear industry. When they give us orders, we work. So we lost 60% turnover in April. 60%, sorry, 60%. And then when we came to May, the total export turnover in Turkey decreased 20%. So I checked May turnover at the export, Turkish export. Half of delivery stopped. So we lost 2 billion dollars, export turnover. Now we will see the total loss. We don't know now. So chain stores generated this decrease actually. Small companies also was in bad situation. They couldn't service, etc. For the domestic, can I continue for domestic market?
Yes, please. A few comments about the domestic market, please.
There were similar problems in domestic market because government closed all shops, retail shops. So shopping malls were closed also. And open market and bazaars also, people can sell garments in there. Same situation, to decrease the crowds in that areas, government also not allowed to sell clothing products, only foods allowed.
Only the food stores were allowed.
Yes, only food. In that period, government tried to support us. For example, some financial instruments.
Okay, what was the financial support, if I may ask you, Mrs. Kabir?
Sorry?
What was the financial support that the government provided to the industry?
They support the salaries. For the unworked days, government paid 60%. So the balance left to the traders. But it's useful. And if you had to shut down all
Yeah.
manufacturing, all
I
manufacturing,
can see, look, I can see Richard Salvatore is talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello,
What-
Mr. Salvatore, have you joined us now?
yes.
I think he has joined
He's
us.
together with us. And
Yeah.
also, another thing, government postponed the tax payments.
Tax is also postponed. Okay.
Yes, they didn't delete them, but they postponed this kind of.
Can I
anyway,
ask you? Okay, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wanted to ask you about the online and e-commerce business. If
Yeah.
that has increased, and how much of that is now part of the regular business for the textile, for the
Actually,
domestic.
e-commerce was important for a long time in our trade. So people were preparing to sell their products, any products, doesn't matter, to sell from internet. Because city life needs this kind of services. We had more than 30 associations in our federation. So we can touch many people, many city, many sector, include inside our ready-wear sector. So we can test some, how can I say, events or problems or developments. One of our member, they are, how can I say, one of the biggest retailer. They sell. They say their internet shop as a normal shop. So they compare all shops between them, and their internet selling the biggest one. But they sell, they don't have enough profit in that area. I think this is related our, how can I say, consumer habits, because people, at the beginning in Turkey, people sell cheap garments or opportunity garments, for example, and people used to buy cheaper, high quality, cheaper price. But it has to be changed. Now it's changing.
Now,
Price, real selling, but it's not easy business, as you know, because you have to have some, how can I say, preparations. I mean, taking photograph, present right type, etc. Not easy, not easy business, but it's growing very fastly. And this period, it's boomed.
okay. So how
But
are you?
we faced
No, please continue.
a big problem at the time. Due to pandemic, transport companies decreased their workers account, and then no workers, much more business. So parcels couldn't deliver it, and big delays occurred. I think we have to make something about it. Perhaps government support this kind of e-commerce issues or transport companies, etc. Because our trade, our national trade needs this kind of developments and supporting.
Okay, Mrs. Mukadder, how do you see? I would like you to conclude with the prospect. How do you feel about the next few months and the next year, for example, also in 2021, about the business of the apparel and textile Turkish?
Actually, we face now a social situation, an unexpected situation. It is. Nobody knows how people, how can I say, has got new demands or habits, social habits, etc. But you know, people needs to wear something, so we are expecting slowly a growing. For example, we lost a lot of money in that period. We cannot cover now. Time passed. So also people change their habits, consuming habits. So we don't know which way they will go, but we are waiting. We are not pessimistic. We are waiting the growing again. It's very related our chain stores also. Now they are starting slowly their demands, their orders, especially chain stores. For example, some of our suppliers visited us today. Zara started to give orders. So these are very related, very strictly related, because we are not selling fashion. We are producer country.
So we are positive about.
We need European orders, basically.
Thank you very much.
It's growing now.
It's growing and you're positive about it. I would like to move to Mr. Alex Zucchi, the president of the Ultimate Italian Textile Machinery Manufacturers Association. Mr. Zucchi is very well known to Pakistan, and he's been associated with many, many Pakistani customers, and he has got a number of friends here, and he is here to share his perspective about the Italian industry, textile industry, as well as the Italian textile machinery manufacturing, how that has affected how it is affected by the COVID-19, and also what are some of the solutions and how the Italian society has dealt with this, as you were the first to deal, one of the first after China, to deal with these severe consequences which the other countries are now reaching or even exceeded. So I would like you to welcome to this panel, and I would like you to just briefly introduce yourself, and then we can move on to your short presentation that I have with me here.
Okay, assalamu alaikum to everybody, and shukra to invite me to this interesting webinar. And I'm very glad to be here today because it's very important to share and learn about a different point of view. Italy, as you already anticipated, Nadim, has been one of the most affected countries with this virus. But the main reason, I think that at the beginning, we have really underestimated the, let's say, gravity of this pandemic situation. At the beginning, you know, there was almost a fight every day in between all the experts. They say, oh, this is like a flu, don't think about, nothing's gonna happen. And then suddenly they realize how difficult and complicated it was to fight against this virus. No? But when they realized, it was too late, and organization took some time. You know, Italy, from the health side, organization is really well equipped, but the quantity of the people has been affected in such a short time has been impossible to manage. On the other hand, I have to say that when the government decided to intervene and then stop everything, lock down everything, thinking about the behavior and the character of the Italian, I was being really surprised to see the way everybody react. There was not, let's say, a bad reaction. The people has understood, and the people was respecting, let's say, most of the people were respecting the new rules. I was really surprised as well, because normally the Italian, you know, we say that when we make a law, we always find a way to turn around. We are flexible, let's say like that, okay? In this case, believe me, I was really, really surprised. But at the same time, as a manufacturer, as an entrepreneur, we got a very, very serious concern because, you know, when you stop an activity, a manufacturing plant, there are so many things that are involved. So major concern, what's gonna happen to about all the order we have in the pipe? Or what about the letter of credit that's going to expire? And this is basically at the beginning happened. So the current situation is changing because after almost 2 months of lockdown, just for the people that are attending this webinar, I have to say that the activity, let's say 90% of all the manufacturing plant has been shutting down March 22nd, something like this, and resumed the activity on May 4th. So it's 1.5 months. I'm talking about manufacturing factory, of course. And the percentage of the company involved in the medical staff is not that many. To be honest, when Mr. Parvez before was thinking about, okay, manufacturing, all this stuff, I believe, okay, it's important because it's also part of the business, but it's not, let's say, the solution to all our problems, also for textile. I don't know in Pakistan how much it will be in percentage, but I don't believe it will not be more than 10, 20% maximum. 20% is already a good percentage. But it's helping, of course. It's a part of the business that may help to recover. In Italy, right now, you know, since May 4th, all our associates, talking about 300 companies manufacturing textile machinery in Italy, they are all fully booked. Everybody is working. It's working also because we found a lot of responsible and ethically nice person worldwide, including the Pakistani. And despite the situation, they decided, let's say 90% of them, to extend the letter of credit, allowing our company to complete the machinery and deliver the machinery, despite, in this moment, I believe most of the company, they don't need additional new machinery because they are running maybe 30%, 40% of their capacity. This is very important point because what I personally, but also all my people, we are spreading around to our associate, please do not break the supply chain. This is the major problem. Mr. Parvez before has explained about the company size, small size, they are facing more difficulty. Imagine if we stop to pay our supplier, that most of them, they are maybe company with 5 employees, 10 employees. If we don't pay this supplier, what may happen? What may happen? We really create a mess. And regarding this point, I was wondering before when I see Mr. Salim, I said, you also part of the supply chain, because later I will make you a question because I would like to know what happened about an organization like yours that suddenly had to cancel all the exhibition, because we are an important point of our supply chain, because you are the one that through the exhibition link our company with the customer. So you are part of this supply chain. So I would like to know from you also about this point later on, because I believe this year all the exhibitions, they are gone. So also financially is affecting also a company like yours. Getting back to us, I have to tell you that maybe later, maybe in the second intervention, we can see maybe some slides. We have to keep clear that we were coming from a 2019 that, to be honest, was not really so positive. The trend, talking about textile machinery, was already dropping. We closed the 2019 dropping around 13% the total sales. Of course, we have to distinguish in between different parts of the production chain, but generally, as you may see, okay, sorry, it's in Italian, but you can see produzione, compared to 2018, we lost 13%. And this is only Italy, 14% on the export, even the domestic. So all the data, as you may see, they are negative, okay? You can go to the next, Nadim. Okay, this also which is a part of the supply. Okay, go to the next. One more, please. Okay, you see, this is the worldwide graphic, how the export of the textile machine compare during the last 15, 20 years, no? you can see the China is the one, is the only one is gaining, is growing up, okay? Germany, Japan, Italy, okay, Switzerland is already 3-4 years is losing a lot. If you go to the next, it's easier to understand. Oh, okay, this is related to the order, not important. Go to the next, please. Okay, this is give you a picture. This has been collected in the first quarterly of this year about the feeling our company have. The blue one represent the bad feeling of the company. They do not expect to grow up. They expect to lose share in the market. On the left one, mercato interno is the domestic one, and the foreign market is the other one. You see, 23% they expect to maintain their share, but this is, attention, this is up to March 31st. So we miss April, that is the more critical month, and then part of May. But the blue one, everybody are sure, 77% they are sure they are going to drastically reduce the export of their machinery. If we go to the next slide, you see the situation. This is the most recent, let's say, situation about textile machinery manufacturer in the world. They are the major exporter. Okay, you see China is the biggest one, then Germany, Japan, and Italy, and Switzerland. They are the biggest in the world. As you may see, the only one that grew up is still China. China is the only one, plus 10%. Maybe in the next we can see where, but you can see Germany, Italy, everybody negative. I want just to remark once again, this is up to March 31st. So April is not there. Please go to the next. And then you may see, let's say, the major destination market, okay? Italy, toward China, minus 15%. Turkey, minus 23%, minus 12%. China, in Turkey, improve 11%. And then in India, it's unbelievable. It's grew up tremendously. Germany, in China, it's negative. In Turkey, minus 15. Okay, India, minus 36%. It's all negative. Japan is the only one that improved a little bit in China, but then if you may see about Turkey, minus 60%, minus 37% in India. So the trend we were coming from 2019 was already bad. If we add what happened from January 1st till now, we expect to have result at the end of this year much more negative. Right now, nobody take the risk to make a acceptable forecast. What I mean, I got yesterday night some data about the improvement we already had on May, because April we lost 100%. Nobody export one single bolt. So means all the factory totally shut down. Nobody was producing except 7-8 companies that were making this medical stuff, machinery. But in May, everybody restarted. So May, we going to recover based on the previous month around 60%. And June, even better. What means that May, June, and July will be positive, let's say, month for all the machinery manufacturer. But the major problem is that why analyzing in the last 3-4 weeks, there is no perspective. So the major problem is not now. Now, okay, we fight against this virus. We already apply all the protocol, and the company, they did by themselves before the government, because from the government, unfortunately, we did not get, let's say, a strong support, because it's already in trouble with a big financial problem, the Italian government, so it's very difficult to get the money. And the good things that most of our company has been capable to anticipate all the salary to the employee before the government, because the government till now has supported 20–30% of that. They promise within June to complete the payment, but the good things that all the company, they have anticipated the money to the employee, and this is positive to keep everybody calm, to give everybody the necessary support for their life. But what concerns me and concern all our people is about October, November, December, for two main reasons. Right now, worldwide, nobody is thinking to invest in new machinery at the moment. Maybe only few, only if it is strictly necessary. And it makes sense. Makes sense, because how can I come to a Pakistani customer offering my machinery, even if it's the best technology, if you are running 30–40% capacity and you have still plenty of machine available? Okay, so till all the economy worldwide will resume, and this I have a question also to Mr. Pervez, because this the data to me is very important, because I took note before during this speeching. Till the complete world resume to consume, okay, e-commerce, as Mrs. Mukader said before, improve a lot. We also have seen this data in Italy, just to confirm what you said. E-commerce during the month of April improve 80–90%, even 100% more than before. But okay, is an important part of the business, but it is not enough. Also for our culture. I don't know how much percentage of the export you mentioned before, Mr. Pervez, is going to US and how much is going to Europe. This is an important data to make a good evaluation. This is very important, because another important point, just to I'm trying to give as much information as possible, just to then to share and get a necessary confrontation before. The fact that Italy has been affected before than any other country made also that Italy is the one and the first to restart. But we are restarting and the other, they are still late. So from May 4th, we are working. From 3 days ago, from June 3rd, everything is reopened. All the shopping mall, the people can move outside the region. They can go during the weekend in the mountain or to the seaside. So let's say economy is moving. But what about the export? We are 80–90% export based. So if we cannot export because, let's say, Pakistan is still locked down, Bangladesh, you know the situation, or let's say Brazil or Central America, where the peak of this pandemic is not reached yet. So means that all the other countries are 2 months later, 2 months late compared to Italy. So this is a worldwide problem, and it is not easy to fix it. And the last point, also very important, that somebody, I'm positive, like Mr. Pervez, somebody is really already concerned. I don't know if it's policy strategy. We have to pay also attention about what the television, what the news they are spreading around, because sometimes take this as a political strategy. Somebody already is concerned about a second pandemic return during the winter time. If it is happening, I don't know. I don't know really. It's to make forecast. I think not even a wizard is capable in this moment to say what will happen. I hope they are wrong. I hope in the meantime somebody can develop a vaccine and then we can get protected. Because this is another major problem. Mr. Pervez, that is a very positive man, before said, oh, I'm confident 3 to 6 months. Believe me, I will be more than happy if you are right in this forecast. But personally, I think that from October till February, okay, forgetting a new pandemic return, because I hope, I pray God that it's not happen. From October to February, it will be a very, very difficult moment. I'm talking about for the manufacturing company. Also, I think for the Turkish manufacturer as well, because right now is quite normal period, no? Because now, as usual, we should be negotiating for new machinery to be delivered at the end of this year, okay? Till now, till September, we are all filled up. But there is no negotiation, there is no business pending. Let's say only some spare part, nobody can survive only with spare parts. So I don't want to be negative, but the concern is there. So that's why we have decided month by month to follow all the development happening around the world, and also focusing also in the other market like South America. I think you are also following, because I see what happened in Brazil. Right yesterday morning, I got the information about Mexico. Mexico is spreading like hell, because that's another country where this virus has been underestimated. So nothing happened, and then suddenly it multiply 1,000 people a day like nothing. So it's not easy. It's not easy, obviously, to hear about a country like Pakistan that in some way is controlling this. Oh, by the way, congratulations to the Pakistan policy, because I received this morning early from our customer. He's expecting one of our technicians for installation. He has been very kind. He sent the protocol they are applying with also picture, the spray system, everything. I was surprised. They are very, very similar to the protocol we are applying in Italy. It's fantastic, because my technician was really scared. No, I don't want to go there, blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly when they send the protocol, I say, wow, it's nothing different than what we are applying. This is very positive, it's very good. That means that your government is taking seriously. But, and this is in between us, there are few countries they do not disclose really the real number, what really is happening. And this is concerning us a lot. And they are not small country, eh? They are not small country. This population with 100 million of people, and we don't know when we will sort out the problem. And last is USA. USA, you know, there is a big fight because there is election in November. So there is a huge speculation, and I believe also from USA, the picture is not clear. And USA, I believe for Pakistan, then Mr. Parvez will tell me how much is the share US and Europe. USA is a big country, and if it doesn't start to consume USA, let's say USA consume 10 times more than Europe, eh? Because I have a statistic I always used to remind sometimes that Europe, average pro capita, we consume around 5 to 7 pair of pants, is an average statistic per person. USA, 37. So it's a very high consumer country. So, and USA doesn't start to spend, to invest, to consume, it's a problem for everybody. So now I try to make synthetic so many concepts, so many things. But the principle important is do not break the supply chain. Also, Mr. Mukadder, before he said about the garments, design, they are working a lot with the Italian. We also recommend, I was in another conference yesterday evening with the president of the European Textile Association for Garment and Fashion. He also is really concerned because, you know, to break the supply chain, it's the beginning of the end. We cannot, we must in some way to support all our suppliers, big or smaller they are, mainly the smaller, because the bigger in some way, maybe with the government they can survive, but we cannot break. Also, Mr. Salim, I hope they are thinking something to do, some alternative for exhibition. Somebody is already contact us to make some virtual exhibition. I don't know how, but you are expert in this, maybe you have already some idea. But at the end, and then I finish, believe me, to go everything through the web or e-commerce or whatever, I believe it is not the solution of our problem. Direct contact, personal relationship. Imagine, Mrs. Mukader, if you show by video on the web your sample. You cannot touch it. You cannot feel. Even sometimes the colors are not exactly the same. It's another thing. We are in a field where the human contact is the basement of our relationship and our business.
It is going to start again very, very soon. I'm so positive about it. Thank you very much. And Mr. Zucchi, now we would like to, I think Mr. Richard Salvatore has joined from TEMSAD, the Turkish Textile Machinery Manufacturers Association.
Yes.
Ah, welcome, welcome.
Nadim, TEMSAD was established in 1998. Today, we have 205 members. We continue to give support and intense efforts with our experience management to all our members on every platform. Our members consist of 3 main product groups. It's textile machinery spare parts, and textile chemicals. 20 of our members have established R&D centers, and 4 of them have design centers. Approximately 85% of the sector manufacturers are under the umbrella of TEMSAD. Our board of directors are in the board and in very important councils, some of which are the Istanbul Chamber of Commerce. You know, Istanbul Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber in Europe. They have 435,000 members. Istanbul Chamber of Industry, the Union of Chambers and Commodity Exchanges of Turkey, the Machine Exporters Union, and we are also on the international relations side. We have signed bilateral cooperation agreements with 18 similar textile associations throughout the world. I mean, these are in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Egypt, Uzbekistan, China, India, USA, Indonesia, Russia, South Korea, Iran, Ethiopia, and so on. I mean, the main purpose of signing these MOUs is to increase and enhance the trade relationship between our members. TEMSAD also organizes B2B meetings and workshops in these and other foreign countries with the help of the associations that have signed MOUs with. TEMSAD also organizes inward and outward missions. TEMSAD also has a sister company where we represent certain exhibitions in Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam, and ITME Africa, and India ITME. ASFW in Ethiopia, Cambodia, Myanmar. TEMSAD is the main supporting organization of ITM TÜYAP Istanbul. TEMSAD have also, we have signed cooperation agreements with the following local institutions. One is the Fashion and Apparel Federation, which Mrs. Mukader is representing now, Textile Finishing Industrialists Association, and Turkish Textile Industry Employers Association, which is the largest association foundation in Turkey, which represents all the employers of the textile sector. Turkey's foreign trade figures with its brother country Pakistan is as follows. Turkey's total exports to Pakistan in 2019 were $352 million, out of which 22.5 million were textile machines. Pakistan's total exports in 2019 were $323 million. The most important item appears to be cotton fabrics. So that's the information about TEMSAD. Thank you.
Now, can you tell me, Mr. Salvatore, how the industry, you mentioned about your very important sector, how
Yes.
have they've been faring over the last 3 months? Have you received any cancellation of orders, and what, in your opinion, is the future that
Yeah.
you can see?
I mean, as Mr. Zucchi have mentioned, we were also very badly hit by the pandemic, and most of our manufacturers have closed their factories. But luckily, apparently, with good news, we had quite two very important orders, and I'm happy to say that these orders were from Pakistan, which were last month. Last month, we had one of our major companies had an order from two major Pakistan textile firms for 4 Stentor machines. Okay, and we have started also, our members, a few of our members have started also exporting their machines to Egypt, and a few to, I think they're on the line, which were previous orders that have been received to Indonesia. But I think I can't say that we have recovered from all this big problem, but our members are trying to come back to normal. But of course, it's not easy. It's not easy because they were hit, and most of them are small and medium-sized enterprises. And financially,
did they receive any support from your government?
Sorry?
What kind of support did they receive from the Turkish government? These manufacturers of smaller manufacturers of textile machines.
Yes, let me tell you. The government has met their 3 monthly production. 60%, where was it? I think 3 months, their wages of their employees were paid by the Turkish government.
Okay. And
June. Until end June.
Until the end of
June, yes.
Until the
yes.
end of June.
Until end June. I mean, all the plants have turned into their production facilities from the 1st of June.
Very good.
But I can't show you, because of this computer problem I had, I can't show you certain tables, but you know, the Turkish textile machinery industry exported $900 million in 2019 and have imported $1.1 billion from abroad machines.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the domestic sales of the sector is approximately $1 billion. But I can just very shortly read you the 10 first countries that we have exported to. I mean, the $900 million exports were divided into these countries. Very roughly, I will read them off. UK, $94 million. UK. Italy, $67 million. 67 and a half. France, 57. Uzbekistan, 55. Germany, 50. Bangladesh, 35. That's 2019. India, 24. Egypt, 23. Pakistan, 22.5. And Iran, 22. As for imports, the same 10 major countries, it's Germany. We've imported machines from Germany, 319.127. From China, 253.109. From Italy, 152.484. From Japan, 95.2. From Belgium, 83.4. From Switzerland, 60.5. from India nearly 40, from France 24, from Poland 21, and from Vietnam 20. So that is our export figures. According to the latest statistics in machinery exports in April, decreased by nearly 50% compared to April last year due to the effects of the pandemic spreading all over the world, right? And total exports of the first 4 months, January, April, decreased by 14%. Many of our members have turned to home working systems and have reduced their working capacities by 50%. However, they experienced a 70% reduction in their orders. In addition, 60% of employees' wages continue to be paid by the state for at least 3 months, as Mr. Mukadder said, till the end of June, with the opportunity of short-time working allowance, which was provided by the state. Many member companies benefited from this support. Some flexibility has also been provided by the state to tax and credit debts. In production processes, problems arising from customs have also occurred in procurements, and production has decreased for a certain period of time. However, our member companies continue their production by complying with the necessary precautions in their factories and did not interrupt their contact with domestic and foreign customers. During this period, we think that the difficulties, especially in March, April, and May, will be overcome as it is in June. According to the information we received from our members, they continue to export to different parts of the world with improvements in customs and new order purchases. They have also started to meet the local machinery demands of the textile sector. Today, apparently, there was a note by Turkey's Exporters Assembly, which this assembly has 78,000 companies under their umbrella. And they say Exporters Assembly has stated that European and American textile companies have approached Turkish companies instead of Chinese and asked them to prepare samples for them. So these companies some of our companies are having this advantage for the time being. This news was only stated this morning. If you want, I can tell you about the problems that TEMSAT members face with their local customers, with the global customers.
With the global, yes, please, briefly.
Yeah. The customer portfolio of our members appeals geographically very wide. 37% of our members' exports are made to European countries. The remaining 63% is made especially to Far East and Asian countries. In this context, the level of which the pandemic process will continue in the Far East, the Middle East and Asian countries, and how long it can be reduced are important questions, which cannot be properly answered for the time being. According to the latest survey we conducted with our members, we found out that they received new orders in May from various countries, such Bangladesh, Vietnam, India, and Pakistan. And Pakistan, I've recently, I've told you that they received orders for 4 stentors. In addition, with the circumvention of the pandemic process, an estimate that Asian countries will have more interest in our textile machinery than ever before, and that is common among our members. I mean, how does TEMSAT plan to provide its members with support to survive these difficult times? Our association has been in contact with all our members from the very beginning of the pandemic and closely followed the processes. In the first place, our members were informed about the new incentives and supports provided by the state. In order to avoid financial difficulties, our association has made the necessary guidance and follow-up on which types of support can be provided. In this period, in order to avoid legal problems in business processes, summary notes were obtained from our legal advisors and shared with our members. In addition, intense discussions were held on the postponement of domestic and international fairs to the dates deemed reasonable by our members, and new dates were determined for their satisfaction. The current requests from our members were followed and submitted to the right authorities of the government. The capacities of our members who manufacture mask and medical product machines have been followed. Problems experienced in the importation of foreign mask machines were discussed in detail with government officials. Currently, 28 companies produce mask machines and medical products in Turkey. They have successfully adapted the process very well, and significant success has been achieved in the development of new machines. Finally, TEMSAD is preparing the infrastructure for its members to make the best use of e-commerce in today's conditions, and believe that the importance of e-commerce will continuously increase. Necessary directions are planned to be adapted to the fastest adaptation of all our member companies in the upcoming period when digital transformation is expected. If I can finish with do I think positively about the textile industry in 2021 and beyond? We have lately conducted a survey with our members, who most of them positively believe that the textile industry will continue to be important and productive sector in 2021 and beyond. For international fairs, 30% of them think that the normalization will take place in the fourth quarter of 2020, and 60% of them believe that it will take place in 2021. We can say that the importance of the fairs we represent will not be lost that year. 2021 will become an important year for our members. TEMSAD will continue to provide all necessary support to our participating member companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salman. Now, we have a few questions that we would like to, for the different panelists that we have received. Mr. Zuki, we have a question about particularly, how do you foresee the impact on the Italian textile machinery exports to Pakistan after COVID-19? There's a question specifically about the market. You mentioned about in the graphs and charts, the different markets. What would be the position, in your opinion, with your unique knowledge of Pakistan and its customers, how is the Italian machinery business in terms of Pakistani business customers?
Well, if I should answer based on the last communication I got right yesterday night from one of the biggest textile company in Pakistan, I should say I have no concern. I cannot disclose the customer, but believe me, I would like to read the message I will receive. This is amazing. It's a show an ethics that is something that since many years I never seen. So I believe that is not going to change let's say the kind of relation. Is going to change the approach in few fields like service, like, based on Industry 4.0, augmented reality. So this is going to change for sure, because we are all working on this. Most of the company, they are already applying this technology. But in terms of, let's say, selling technology, because we are selling technology, it's something that nobody can avoid. Italy manufacturer, we produce high level technology machine. So I'm sure that the Pakistani, they are looking for the best technology, the most advanced technology, because it is not just a matter of automation, it's a matter of green technology, energy saving to avoid the pollution, machine performance. Mr. Pervez, he made a note at the beginning about one point that I would like to, let's say, clarify a little bit. He said that most probably in the future, worldwide, we will have to face problem with the price of our product. Obviously, he was referring to the garments and then all the apparels. I believe you should not think in this way. You must keep your level and don't let's say, drop your price because in some way you are blackmailed by the big buyer. Don't do that. Don't do that, because the policy already applied today, particularly in the garments. I have so many friends, they are acting in the garments, or even big companies. And the profit, the margin you have nowadays is not that big, because most of the company, except the high fashion, they are working based on volume. So why you should drop the price?
Breaking up.
No, if you have to improve the quality, the efficiency, and the efficiency you improve with education. So improve the quality of the capacity of your employee, and then new technology machine. This is what, from my point of view, you should consider. But do not consider that dropping the price, you still get your shares. You are already competitive. Pakistan has an unbelievable textile tradition. Why to drop this out? No, you keep it. Just show that you are more capable. You improve the quality, and to improve the quality, you have more education. So you improve the skill of your people. You improve efficiency, buying best technology available in the market. This is, I think, is what you should do.
Thank you.
I have only, if I can say something, you should say something to Mr. Rich. Let's say it's like a joke. Mr. Richard, I don't know if you listen to me, but next time, don't say about all this exhibition, otherwise Mr. Salim will not allow you to participate anymore. You are competing to him.
Yes. Now, Nadim, do you mind if I just read one small paragraph from the report of IMF's latest report?
Sure, because yes, please.
You see, it's very important. It's an important point. That's why I've asked this permission from you. It says here, I mean, IMF's latest World Economic Outlook report under the threat of the pandemic. I won't go through all that report, but it's a paragraph about Turkey. Turkey, classified under the emerging and developing Europe group of countries, is predicted to contract by 5% in 2020 and grow by 5% in 2021. In order to fight with the most recession since the Great Depression, IMF suggests that multilateral cooperation is essential, including helping financially constrained countries and challenging aid to countries with weak healthcare systems. I mean, my belief is that we should, I mean, if I'm representing an association, and I think that these cooperation agreements, vice versa with associations, are very essential for both parties. We, as I mentioned a little while ago, that our $900 million of textile machinery exports, 640 million out of that figure is dyeing and finishing machines. Mm-hmm. We don't produce weaving and spinning machines yet.
Spinning machines, yeah.
Yes, but we're open for suggestions in a collaboration with, of course, with famous companies. I mean, this is our dream. We want, and our government, our government, our government will support us if we can organize a joint venture or a licensing agreement or whatever. And a lot of exemptions are given by the state on investments in Turkey. I mean, in 2018, one of our major companies have, Mr. Zucchi will know, have acquired Brezoli along with its brand and production rights. Now, they are manufactured by our company. I mean, we need this sort of cooperations and this sort of links in between, which I think it's important. Turkey, every country is important, of course, but Turkey sits in the middle of a population of 600 million people. right? And why can't we sort of get closer to each other? And it could be, this could be licensing, could be joint venture, could be subcontracting or whatever. I mean, everybody is in need of their principles. You know, that's my last word.
It's a very important, and these kind of collaborations, I'm sure, will bear fruit in the long run for everybody.
Yes.
And coming to a point, Mr. Zuki, which you mentioned about the future of the personal contact, one-to-one contacts, which importance is never. I think exhibitions are a very important part of that. And so many exhibitions did get cancelled, but uh, an online edition is never the solution for that. So I wanted to ask Mr. Salim Tanoli, what has been the impact here in Pakistan? And what are the plans for next year? Because I think all the exhibitions are coming back in 2021.
Well, thank you, Mr. Alex Zucchi. You have mentioned rightly about the exhibitions. Thanks for remembering us. Well, there is definitely no comparison with face-to-face, and virtual cannot take place when the face-to-face meetings are being done. So probably you know that I'm also on the board of the International Association of the Exhibition Industry, UFI, headquartered in France, and I'm heading Asia Pacific region. So we discuss almost daily basis amongst all the big organizers and all about the virtual exhibition and all. But as of now, except China, a couple of like Canton Fair, they are going to take on a virtual exhibition. But all the major organizers still believe in that the exhibitions, as you said, that you have to feel, you want to feel the fabric, you want to face, you can talk. So there's no replacement as such. But for the time being, just to keep alive the business, because the exhibition industry is the industry which hurt badly. You know, even you can sell some parts, but we cannot sell anything until the exhibitions or the we will be the last one, you know, to open our sector. So as far as the Pakistan is concerned, we do not have any clear policy from the government because we have our expo centers, they have turned into quarantine centers. And I do not see anything until end of this year. And everything is probably, you know, will start next year. Like all the international exhibitions, ITMA Asia, be it, you know, I mean, I have to name them, ITMA Asia or ITME or ITM. So they have shifted 1 year to next year. Probably, you know, the ITM, they'll be in June probably, yes. Even the ITMA Asia will be also in June. So originally IGATEX was in March. So we are also looking forward, probably, you know, taking the survey and taking the guidance from our exhibitors that probably next year in first quarter or maybe, you know, after March, something like this. Till now, March we are considering, but it depends on how the things get settled with this COVID. As we said, we are probably the last one, but we are trying to do something for some other exhibitions. We are also planning to do some virtual where people can trade, but obviously as far as the machinery is concerned, people want to see face to face. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Larissa, I wanted to ask you about the investment scenario that Pakistan can expect to, you know, the industry is starting, but do you foresee the investment in new technology in the near future? And when do you, in your opinion, this new investment can be expected? It is extremely important to keep up with the new trends, new technologies, so in your opinion, is the industry ready and when would it be ready? Because we learned about the postponement of the letter of credits, but what would be the situation in your opinion after that?
I have heard the whole conversation And especially, I just want to clear one thing to Mr. Zuki. I never said in my conversation regarding the prices reduction. I never said. I said that Pakistan can be a beneficiary country in terms of textile exports, because Pakistan is always into commodity products or basic textile products. Just keeping aside few segments like fashion garments, out of 60% of the total exports of Pakistan, not 100% of that proportion is value added. So what I feel that we will get more benefit in terms of, we can get the opportunity. That's what I say. So I'm never into the point that the prices, we should reduce the price to get more and more market. Because market is going to reduce. But I feel, and we will get the exact clarity in next 2 quarters. I said till January, you said till February. That's the difference. But in next 2 quarters, after the second wave of, God knows better if there comes a second wave of this corona, COVID-19, then we will have the exact clarity and position how the international global market reacts and how the market is going to move forward. Number one. Number two, regarding the investments in the machinery, I don't think that in next, whatever orders have been placed and whatever the plans are there, Pakistani normally industrialists or entrepreneurs, mainly they are very much committed, they are very much professionals, and ethically they are very strong, as we discussed. But for near future new orders, I think people will wait. Minimum 2 to 3 quarters, 4 quarters, people will wait, because until and unless the clarity will come in the global market in terms of consumptions, in terms of trends, in terms of styling, I don't think that for next 1 year, there will be a big investment in machinery.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Mrs. Mukadder, to conclude this, I would like you to give us your opinion about the future of the Turkish apparel and the textile and the fashion business as you see. Just to conclude
Actually,
our entire discussion.
we don't expect tragic increasing of European orders, because Turkey has got own specific how can I say, properties. So the most important one, Turkey is a close company to the Europe. But on the other hand, we have a lot of disadvantages as a Turkey, especially costs. So in this period, personally, I don't expect the orders will change the place from another country to the Turkey. Actually, some reports can say Turkey will have a lot of order, etc. But I don't think so, because we have to watch consumer habits, consumer economic situations in everywhere in the world.
Yes, exactly.
Consuming amounts can be decrease or increase. Depends the social and economic situations in the world.
And
So, yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah, and people always watch high quality, best price in the world for ready-wear. So we can, right, Mr. Zuki? So people will watch again, buyer companies will watch again, good service and good price together. So Turkey has got some advantages. For example, we always has got high technology service. In very bad times, as economically, Turkish traders didn't listen anybody and made investments. For example, last week, I faced a problem with a printing house. Factories are closed, and my suppliers cannot service to us. So I used less technology to solve the problem. I used special digital printing machine without any, how can I say, wet process,
Processing, with processing.
directly print, but celluloid fabric. So
Okay.
many people doesn't know this technology, many people. So I can do it my reactive printing on a cotton fabric. So I did my service to the my customer. Technology is very important to save time, to solve quickly something, etc. Maybe we need to remind something about home office working. All of us, or many of us, has got digital, how can I say, abilities. We could work in home very well. We could answer our customers very well. We could reach our data bank in our companies very well. So we could continue to give service. These are very important, very important. And Turkey always, especially at the last years, very good at technology production abilities and service abilities. So they are, our traders are continuing to make investment, even opposite to all kind of bad conditions. You know, our currency very wavy. We always have to have to take risk. We are arguing prices, changing, etc., etc. I don't want to talk about
The investment has got to be in the right investment, which is what you just mentioned, that you found a solution to provide and to supply with the new digital printing technology. So I think this is the future, is to fine tune according to the requirements of the market, according to the requirements of the consumers, what type of products they are interested in. And I thank everybody, all the panel, very much for the time and your valuable insights into this. And unfortunately, we could not see Mr. Salvatore, but we really appreciate your valuable input and information, which we'll be happy to provide to our attendees and the other panelists also after a while. And I would like Mr. Salim Tanuri to conclude this.
Sorry,
session.
before conclusion, Nadim, I kindly ask you, Mr. Pervez, if you can tell me the shares of the export in between US and Europe, because I didn't get this data yet. Okay. How much is the export in US and how much is in Europe from Pakistan? Just to have an idea.
I don't have the exact numbers at the moment.
Roughly.
Most probably, I don't have the exact numbers at the moment, but most probably, I think 75% plus minus is for the US, and 20 to 25% plus minus is for Europe. In terms of value, yeah.
Wow.
Our major share is the US.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's important to me because I was thinking much more in Europe, but you have much more US. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Nadim, do you mind for me to make one point about the exhibitions?
Sure. Yeah. Mr. Salvatore, please continue.
Yeah, you see, and please call me Richard, Mr. Salvatore. Now, with exhibitions, I think the most important fact is that, I'm talking for my members, when a company has no information whatsoever about the market that they're tackling with, these are some of our members that don't want to participate on a certain exhibition. They have to know the market properly. They have to establish agents there, and try to find potential customers for them, and then they can go and analyze the market and then participate on an exhibition. I mean, I'm not an expert on textile machines. I was a former diplomat working between the Turkish and British government. I was a commercial consul, right? And I was dealt with all the sectors globally. And we were very active with Turkey, vice versa, and so we are. But I think for a person to be a potential participant on a certain exhibition is for that company to make a proper homework about that country's potential. You see, whoever agent you meet, they will all say, oh, I can reach the president, I can reach the prime minister in one call. And this is all the selling sort of formalities that they adopt. But you have to find the right people. I remember one of my friends who is a printing inks, a manufacturer of famous printing ink company, said, it took me 40 years to establish 260 representatives throughout the world. 40 years to find the right person who would tackle on his behalf for that particular market. So I think agents, representatives are very, very important elements. Of course, the foreign missions of certain countries have to be active on those particular countries, because their main topic and main business is to report the potential to their motherland. So if they don't do their work properly, then our companies are not aware of the potential and will never be.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sabato.
Thank you.
Thanks again for your valuable comment. Mr. Salim, I would like you to conclude this session.
Well, very nice. I have attended many seminars, webinars. We also organize many webinars on different sectors, but this one was very informative, especially Mr. Alex. I can see a lot of questions and a lot of people are praising you. Mr. Richard as well, Mr. Lala, very nice, and Mrs. Muqaddar, and yourself, Mr. Nadeem, very well. You have moderated this. And we are looking forward to organize few more on this sector, on textile sectors, and we will be inviting some other associations from Europe and from Pakistan as well. So please stay tuned and stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Conclude this session with thanks to all the panelists and all the attendees. Thank you very much.